Good morning, girls. So today, for those who have kettlebells at home, I was going to go through some things that you can do with the kettlebell, both upper and lower body. And also, I thought that if you don't have a kettlebell at home, they should start being supplied by Kmart now. I did see some online, but we still have some to borrow if you need them as well. We've got 8, 10, and 14s. We also have 18s and 20s too, depending on what you want to do. So for the lower body, we're going to do, first one is we're going to do a squat. So you can do squat or box squat depending on, so I want to make sure that when you do the squat that you just don't go knees down first. So you don't want to do this because then your knees will have too much pressure on them. You need to make sure that you go backwards. So if you need to make sure that there's a little step or a chair there, then going backwards, that's far more posterior chain and far less going down through the knees. So if you can then do that whilst you're just standing there using those hamstrings and glutes, then you don't necessarily need the box. But using it is good. So get your heart rate up as well. You can do this with or without the kettlebell, but again, use the chair and stepping up. Disappear. Bye-bye. Yeah? So you want to try and make sure, again, that you're not pushing over the knee as much as possible. So this is what I mean. So I don't want you to push over the knee and push up like that. I want you to make sure that you sit back in it. So you kind of hips back, pushing through the heel, and push straight up like that. See how I'm not going over the knee over toes? Just push straight up like that. Okay, so you've got squats, step ups, do a single leg deadlift, so really nice hammy. So 1 foot to the front and 1 foot to the back. So I don't necessarily want you to pivot and take your foot off the ground, because that usually means there's a lot of balance involved. And then you can, if you like, or you can mix it up a little bit and do a little bit of both. So I'm just going to do both. So this is what this one looks like. It does take a lot of balance, but it's still not bad for you at all. Really good for your ankles. Get that strength in your ankles. You can use a chair in front just to balance you in case. I do prefer this one with just foot back like that, so not foot on the ground, just toes for that little bit of balance, and it just keeps you from going from side to side. Nice big, strong, straight leg as much as possible, so your big hamstring pull, come up and squeeze that glute. Try not to fall over, hamstring pull, and squeeze that glute. Okay, so it's hamstring, step ups will give you a good amount of quads. Front squats will be just a good all over leg exercise. What else can you do? A sumo. Okay, so the way I do the sumo with a lighter weight is making sure that you just get nice and low. So you can do your sumo like this. It's pretty easy. Sometimes you might not be able to get as wide as you would like. So I prefer shoulder width apart, but toes all the way out. So some people do sumos like this, nice and wide, but I don't think it's necessarily that good on your hips if you can't get that wide. I've got a funny hip anyway, thanks to radiation treatment and a motorcycle accident. But there's a really nice way to just do shoulder width apart and angle those toes out. And you just, I'll show you side on. So angle the booty out the back first, get your wrists to knees, and then turn out and come down nice and low like that. You can do them nice and slow, but it allows a lot more inner thigh involvement. So I'll show you from the front. So shoulder width apart, turn those toes out, leaning back, getting that the wrist to knee, and then really pushing those knees out, coming down nice and low, and then using the inner thighs to come up. Yeah? That's probably it for legs. You can do heaps more. We can do glutes and single leg glutes. And we'll take you through that. Just gonna get this out of the way. All right. So doing glutes, making sure that you're not pushing all the way through, that you do that nice little fold. So I like heels into the floor rather than feet flat. It just gets a little deeper into the posterior chain and the glute. So pushing up, squeeze, and back down. Up, squeeze, and back down. So you're not really lifting the weight with your arms. You're just kind of laying it in between your belly button and your pubic bone, pushing up and squeezing and coming back down. It just adds a little bit of weight to the torso. Not torso, lower body. So then you would bring your knees together to do the single leg, and you would take one foot off the floor and one foot on the floor, still putting that the heel into the floor. All right, so you just want to do one leg now, still carrying the weight, and you find that you get that a little bit more in the quad if your foot is close to you. If your foot is further away, like this, and heel into the floor, then you get more hamstring. So you can do a little bit of both. They're both pretty nice. And then if you get halfway, you're then getting the nice deep glute. So close is quad, further away is hamstring, and somewhere in between the two is that nice deep glute stretch. Not stretch, hit. Okay, let's see, what can we do now? We do some core, so you can do your roll-ups and roll-downs with the 8 kilo as well. So rolling up like this, and you just have it weighted in the tummy like that. You can do your dead bugs like that, and then the further your feet are out, the harder it is. You can do a little pulsing. And then the last one would be the roll downs. So you've got this in your lap again, and you just hold it there, hands out the front, pulling that belly button in all the way to your back, and then going down nice and slow, 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 slow. If you can't get up instantly with that without holding it, that's fine. You can always kind of like use the kettlebell to rocket you up, so it propels you up, and then just lay it back down and just go down nice and slow. 3, 2, 1, nice and slow, and then you can use it to rocket yourself back up. So there's some really good core ones that you can do. There's 3. So while I'm down here, I'll show you some upper body ones. So we're going to do what's called a skull crusher. Probably a great angle to do it from, but I will do both angles so you can see how close my elbows need to be together to get the best out of it. Okay, so this is called a skull crusher because it's kind of like the kettlebell's going to crush your skull, but it's not. Okay, so you sit normally like this, elbows high like this, and you're just popping it down to the forehead and back up. So your grip, depending, you probably want to try and have a go at a few different grips. I prefer this grip. You can kind of hold it like this as well, as long as you are getting the most out of it. So you want to make sure that you're pushing evenly through both sides of your arms. So by doing this way, holding it that way, it's really not that much different. You can probably get a little bit more mobility and extension. So you want to angle back, coming down and popping up. So with that same grip, you've probably got more control. Angle back, coming down and back up. So now I'm going to angle the other way so you can see this way. See how close my elbows are? They're not out like this. They're in and they're over top. So my elbow is essentially over top of my cheekbones. Coming down and back up. Yeah? All right. Let's have a look at what else we can do. We can do the good old overhead. So you can do this standing or kneeling. It's completely up to you. But you want to try and bring your shoulders back and down, chin up, and you're pushing up overhead. And then we can turn this way so I can show you. I'm not pushing out in front. I'm shoulders back and down, pushing up directly over my collarbone. can we do? We can do a row, and you can angle your wrist in a different way to be able to hit a different muscle in the arm. So your single arm row, I'll show you from the front. You've just got your hands, your knees together like this, and you're pulling back. Squeeze that tricep and the lat together. So you just, I'm not out wide. I'm making sure that elbow is turned in, and I'm bringing that up the side of my lat. Show you, like that. Yeah? So you can then turn over this way to get more bicep out of it. Show you this from this way as well. Yeah? It's really hard to do a bicep curl with a kettlebell, to be honest, because it just doesn't have the same weight ratio in the palm. So this is probably one of your better bets to be able to do your triceps, biceps, shoulders, and overhead. What else? You can do a chest press on the floor with this as well. I don't know whether you would get quite as much out of it as a heavier weight, but if you do like, you know, you do your chest press up here, hits the front delts, chest press over the boobs, does your pecs. So you've got pecs minor here and pecs major across here. If you do it quite low over the rib, you'll find that when you engage and flex at the top and you keep it at that low, you can find that you get more out of your pecs major. I'll just show you that one. Okay, so this is not over top of my chest. This is over top of my ribs. So I'm going to do that grip again. Over top of my ribs, pushing it down to my ribs, and then making sure my shoulder blades are pushed into the ground and my chest is up, and I'm pushing this up and back down, up and back down. You find that this engages the chest a lot more, being a little bit lower. Yeah? So it looks like this from this angle. So you've got it low over the ribs, pushing down, elbows hitting the floor, and pushing up. That's also a really, really good way to engage the chest. So we've done bicep, tricep, done some overheads, done some back squeezes, so that's your lats and your scapula. Yeah, that's a pretty good workout. If you can divide it into 2 days or 1 day, up to you, but that's a really good full body workout that you can do with a kettlebell. Okay? All right, thanks for working out with me, girls, and I'll speak to you soon.